Starting us off at number 10 is Geordie Shore. In January 2018, fans started calling out one of the castmates, Marnie, for celebrating her birthday 3 months in advance on the show. During that time, she had announced she would not be returning for the show, so she had no shame in exposing them by tweeting a response to a fan saying, "It's 'cause it's fake and scripted." She wasn't lying either, because another time, a fan posted a picture of a script page on her Twitter that she had found discarded at a restaurant. In the script, you can actually see the discussion points are laid out for the cast, and you can even see Chloe's pre-planned departure from the show, which fans were convinced was totally spontaneous and in the heat of the moment when it happened. I did watch that episode, and I definitely thought that it was happening in that moment. Moving on to number 9 is Love Island. If you haven't watched the show before, a group of men and women do a series of different tasks and dates with a partner that they keep just swapping out until they meet the love of their life. Sounds super realistic. But after one of the seasons, the show was exposed for being fake after an ex-girlfriend came forward with the truth. There was a couple that fans were totally in love with. Danny and Jack got a little shaken up when his ex-girlfriend Ellie was brought into the house. No one knew what was gonna happen. Would he leave Danny for her? Would there be some sort of chaotic love triangle? Well, Danny told The Sun that she was brought in to split up the lovebirds and that the producers told her to say things that would purposely irritate Danny. She said, "Producers will tell you when to talk. If they want you to add something or word it differently, they might ask you to change it. So if you thought it wasn't scripted, it is." While the scene is happening live. It's almost like they're improvising some of those scenes. Sliding into number 8 spot is Celebrity Big Brother. Back in 2016, fans were watching the live feed of the show and were stunned when they witnessed that things were actually staged. It sounded like a stage setup had slipped into the live feed on accident when they heard someone wishing all the housemates goodnight as the bedroom lights went off. After all the housemates shouted goodnight in reply, they appeared to go to sleep. But moments later, literally a second later, the lights suddenly come back on and everyone just piled out of bed again. And the voice of the Big Brother show said, "Great take, guys, great take." You then heard a voice continue to explain to them that the next day was going to be a busy day of shooting. Fans were furious, and Channel 5 responded by insisting still that there is no script and that the show is entirely authentic. In spot number 7 is the popular baking show Cake Boss. During season 1, episode 11, there was a mistake within the episode that showed its viewers it's not as authentic as it claimed to be. People pointed out the scene when Buddy is doing a lobster-themed cake for a bachelor party. When he goes in to talk to his staff, there is a huge 3-tier high cake being worked on in the background, almost complete. But when the scene cuts to him making the parts for the lobster cake, the cake in the back has less tiers, no icing, and no decorations. And it keeps going back and forth between the scenes from decorated 3-tier cake to undecorated smaller cake, which shows us that it's not actually being filmed in order and it's kind of staged and scripted. Moving on to number 6 is Towie, also known as The Only Way is Essex. It's a British reality TV series which claims to be about real people in real situations. But as we have been learning on this list, there are a lot of things in reality shows that are staged or set up before the cameras start rolling. But if you're going to set up a scene for entertainment, you at least have to hide that fact. The show was exposed once a fan pointed out that one of the girls from the show, Megan McKenna, was seen talking on her phone in one scene, but she was actually holding it upside down. I mean, come on. This is pretty embarrassing. All right, guys, we are halfway through and we have The Hills. If you're anything like me, you spent all of your high school years binge watching this show, hoping and wishing that you were a part of it. It was totally convincing, and I feel confident saying that we all thought, or at least hope, that it was real, until the series finale twist ending. They end with Kristen Cavallari and Brody Jenner having this emotional goodbye, because she's apparently leaving the city. But then the director yells, "Cut," and the camera zooms out to expose that the whole thing was staged. The Hollywood sign was literally a fake prop, the car was on a set, the whole thing was staged. But then To confuse us, the cast started talking, saying that that was done on purpose to leave the audience with the question, was it real or was it fake? But since it's been so many years since the show, the cast has felt more comfortable talking about it, and Kristen told the audience on Andy Cohen's talk show, I quote, "I can tell you most of my stuff wasn't real. I'm just happy that more people are coming out and saying that stuff isn't real, because for the longest time, it was only me." I really believed this. I really believed that it was all real. Rolling into number 4 spot is the series Haunted. Fans tuned into the Netflix series because it was said to tell true stories that have never been solved or explained before. The show's producers have said that the stories and people involved are 100% true. But after one of the episodes titled Slaughterhouse, the show was exposed for not being truthful. The episode told the horrifying story of an uncaught serial killer who allegedly took the lives of victims in upstate New York. But fans started questioning how people died from these events without the police getting involved. The showrunners said that they reached out to the authorities but didn't receive any feedback. However, some digging was done. The director of public information, Bo Duffy, said, "I spoke with our Bureau of Criminal Investigation and they have not received any information from the producers or Netflix in regards to the alleged crimes that were portrayed on this program." Obviously, if these crimes did take place, I feel like the police would know about it. Falling into the 3rd spot is Hell's Kitchen. For a while, people have suspected that the show's drama is staged for entertainment purposes, which is somewhat true. Gordon Ramsay really does go hard on people for making mistakes in his kitchen. Speaking of the kitchen, the restaurants you see on the show, where the fancy cars pull up to and celebrities like to eat in every episode, that's fake. It's actually a soundstage. According to TV Guide, everything at the Hell's Kitchen soundstage is exaggerated for TV, and since it's not a real restaurant, the customers aren't real either. They're actually real people, but they're usually connected to the cast and crew of that season. A contestant from season 6 came forward saying, "The customers are friends and family of the production crew. They aren't random people." Taking over our number 2 spot is Judge Judy. I am one of the victims to this show because I thought that it was genuine and real, but got completely fooled after finding out that the cases are not real. Former participants from the show admitted that they created their entire case in order to receive settlement money that the show pays, and also a free trip to LA. They spoke with Vice and said that the Judge Judy production team doesn't do deep background checks, so if your story sounds good enough, they will invite you on the show. They also admitted that the producers knew it was a made-up story and even told them that they can comp their meals as long as it's at different restaurants from each other, because then the production team would obviously know that the lawsuits against each other, like a married couple fighting, would not be real. So you're telling me that I can just make up a lawsuit and get on the Judge Judy show for some money and a free trip to LA? In our number 1 spot is America's Got Talent. It's been said that the show alters what we see on the TV version of the show and that the judges' votes don't actually decide who stays on the show and who leaves. But we did get some confirmation of part of these claims after a YouTuber named Captain Delusionman exposed the show for altering how we view the contestants. He used his knowledge and video skills to prove a magic trick that was aired on TV was actually edited. The tricks are edited and altered to exaggerate the magic more, such as adding in freeze frame for effect or editing something for a disguise. He also proved that there was a giveaway part in the trick and it was edited out from the TV version. So what we see on TV is not actually what the live audience is seeing. Starting off our list at number 10 is The Hills. Now, if you're anything like me, you spent all of your high school years binge watching this show, wondering why you can't live in LA with the camera crew following you and your glamorous girlfriends everywhere. Meanwhile, I was sitting there failing my math classes, eating McDonald's every day, and wearing Walmart brand clothing. Zero glamour, but still wanted my own show like that. But the show was totally convincing, and I feel confident saying that we all thought it was real until the series finale's twist ending. At the end of the series, in the final scene, they end with Kristen Cavallari and Brody Jenner having this emotional goodbye, but then the director yells cut, and the camera zooms out to show that the whole thing was staged. But then the cast started saying that it was done on purpose to leave the audience with the question, what was real and what was fake? Like trying to fool you, you'll never know. But since it's been so many years since the show ended, the cast has felt more comfortable opening up about it, and Kristen Cavallari told the audience on Andy Cohen's talk show, I quote, "I can tell you most of my stuff wasn't real. I'm just happy that more people are coming out and saying that stuff isn't real because for the longest time it was only me." Not gonna lie, this one hurt me a little bit because I invested a lot of my teenager emotions into that show, thinking it was real. It's a fact. Next up at number 9 is The Voice. This one makes me a little bit irritated because I feel like a competition show based around someone's talent and dreams should be nothing but real. But former contestants have come forward exposing different ways that the show is actually fake. The one thing that makes the show stand out against other singing competition shows is the fact that it is a blind audition. The judges can't see them, and they only hit their buzzer if they are impressed with their voice and sound. Turns out that is not actually true. Apparently these blind auditions are actually very planned. One former contestant said that you had to go through 5 different auditions before doing the blind one that we see on TV. And through those auditions, the coaches can see you. They also revealed that everything is planned for you, even the genre and song that you sing at the televised audition. So the show really isn't just about the voice like it claims. Sliding into number 8 is Hell's Kitchen. If you've never seen the show, a group of amateur chefs from all walks of life are put in a competition to try and land a job as an executive chef at one of Gordon Ramsay's restaurants. Now, I only say amateur because in comparison to the position on the show, that's what they might be considered. I am not discrediting any of their works or talent. But the whole premise of the show is that they are basically put through hell. It's no secret that Gordon Ramsay is the toughest chef on the planet and has no problem saying it how it is. He's intense. He's known for his potty mouth, his hilarious yet extremely rude insults, and his ability to make people crumble in the kitchen. But despite the fact that it looks legitimate with real contestants and real diners in restaurants, apparently some people we see on the show are actually paid actors who are hired to stir the pot and create some good TV drama. Like the times you see Gordon getting into it with some contestants to a point where you think like they might get into a fist fight, it's not real. Gordon actually has bodyguards hidden on the set that we just don't see, and those people are actors. Some contestants are real competitors, and they revealed that there's no guarantee that you even win anything. Sometimes when you win the show, there ends up being like working visa issues or government grant delays, and you get left with nothing in the end. So like, is it really worth it? I don't know. And spot number 7 is The Jerry Springer Show. Now, I like to keep some faith in humanity, and I hope that there's some people out there who already know that this show is fake. But I do know that there are some firm believers that the fistfights and ridiculous plot twists are all unstaged and real. But I'm here to shed some light for those people. Now, some things are in fact real. There are real people who write into the show with their real stories trying to get on the show. But there are also some participants who have admitted that their stories were fake and that they were just actors. One participant even said that the producers told them before filming that fistfights get them more ratings, so they encourage it. It's also been revealed that the fight scenes are pre-planned. Production has to coach the show participants when to start a fight based on where the camera crew is, and also their number 1 rule is that Jerry has to be off to the side of the stage when a fight is started. Obviously for safety concerns. You cannot hurt the moneymaker. Literally. But I am still hoping that most of you already knew that this was fake. Moving on to number 6 is MTV Cribs. A big part of my childhood was spent watching the show, so this is a little disappointing to learn. Not gonna lie. The show followed all of our favorite celebrities as they gave us an exclusive house tour of their fancy ass homes that we hoped one day we could afford, but we never will. Basically making you feel like a total peasant. But when I was researching for this video, I found out something that is now making me question my entire life. A lot of mansions and luxury cars that we saw on the show were rented for that episode. Like some of the celebrities would just straight up borrow a house for the day and then shoot their episode. Some people who faked their episodes were JoJo, Ja Rule, Robbie Williams, 50 Cent, Lil Bow Wow, and the list just goes on and on. But karma came back for one of them, and Ja Rule ended up getting sued by the real homeowners after he rented it for 4 days for the episode, but then threw a huge party after filming was done. Classic. Although I'd do the same thing, give me a break. Halfway through our list at number 5 is The Simple Life. Ladies, do not even pretend that you didn't shamelessly watch this show and get a good laugh out of it. I was almost mad at myself for how much I actually liked this one. But for the people who had better time on their hands and chose not to watch it, the show followed Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie as they stayed with a small town family and learned how to live and adapt to a middle class life. They didn't have their cell phones, and the only money they had access to while on the show was the money they earned from the various part-time jobs that they would work. Seeing these girls try to milk cows and work a burger joint was honestly hilarious. It's actually a really funny show. And it was totally believable because they obviously come from money, so to them it really was a whole different lifestyle. But many years after the series ended, Paris admitted that the show was all an act. She spoke with Access Hollywood and dropped a few truth bombs saying that they were told to play up these characters. Paris explained, "They said, Nicole, you play the troublemaker. Paris, you play the ditzy airhead. We had no idea what we were getting ourselves into or what a huge success it would be, and that I'd have to continue playing this character for 5 years." But she did admit that if she was her actual self, she doesn't think it would have been a success, and said that she took that character and turned it into a huge business tool, which made her a massive success on her own. Moving on to number 4, we got Divorce Court. The show started back in 1957 and has a total of 36 seasons. So whether it's real or not, it is a massive success. If you haven't seen it, it is exactly what it sounds like. You watch inside the courtroom of real life divorcing couples who each tell their stories to the judge, who then ultimately gives the ruling and all that stuff. But turns out that all of it was fake, and someone outed the show with some personal proof. One woman revealed that her daughter and her boyfriend were recruited to be on the show. They were never married, only dating, and they were given a backstory by the producers to lie about and act out on the show. Since then, more stories have come out, and even in the Wikipedia description now, it was updated, it says that the stories are all scripted reenactments of divorce cases but presented by actors. Honestly, I'd act out a dramatic divorce. I think that would be a fun gig. So like, who wants to hire me? In the 3rd spot is Survivor. Now, I don't know if I'm just in denial about this one, but I really do not want to believe that this one is fake. The show has become iconic since it started back in 2000 and now has a total of 38 seasons, which were all a huge success. The whole premise of the show is contestants sign up and get stranded on a remote island where they have to try and survive on it. They face different challenges and tasks in order to win the grand money prize, but people also get voted off each week. Turns out that there are some real aspects of the show, but a lot of what we see is staged. Despite being isolated in the wilderness trying to fend for themselves for food, past contestants have admitted that the producers gave them food and fire, we just didn't see it. The producer himself, Mark Burnett, also admitted that it wasn't the real contestants doing the challenges. Turns out they used body doubles to enhance the quality of the scenes, since the swimming challenges and stunts wouldn't have gone very well for average individuals. Former contestants have also said that production manipulated and controlled who got voted off each week, so it makes you wonder what parts were actually real then. Cause to me that just sounds like a whole bunch of fake. The deception is killing me. I feel like a fool because I was convinced that these people were literally out there like surviving. Taking over the number 2 spot is Long Island Medium. This one will be totally opinion based. It will all depend on if you believe in psychics and the work that they do. Teresa Caputo is the most famous self-proclaimed psychic in the world and has her own reality show called Long Island Medium. The show follows her personal life at home and as well as her tours, where she does live psychic reading shows across the globe. But many people have come forward saying that her show is fake, including her abilities as a psychic. People have pointed out that in her live shows, when she calls out people from the audience and starts to say that she's feeling a spirit from their life, that they are actually clients of hers who she has worked with before, so they're not just random members of the audience. Which would mean that this random spirit she's coming into contact with isn't so random. During one of the episodes, we see her call out a woman from the audience saying, "Why am I picking up baby clothes?" And people just seemed astonished that she would know something random like that. But the woman replied with, "Oh, that's weird, I just put a bunch of pictures of baby clothes on my Facebook page." People have said that she researches members from her audience when they purchase the ticket online to her show, and then she creeps basically and has some background information to use during her performance. But like I said, I think this one is all just personal based. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments. Finally, in the number 1 spot is The Bachelor/Bachelorette. Now, this really shouldn't come as shocking news to you, but I do know that there are some diehard fans out there who try to convince me that this is in fact real and everything we see is completely unscripted and unplanned. I'm serious, you guys, I've had this argument with my own sister. But in October of this year, The Bachelor was exposed for staging and reshooting key scenes. Shocker. The tea was spilled and it was revealed that the producers often manipulated what the contestants do and say, and many of the authentic moments that the audience thought they saw was in fact coached by production off screen. The famous Bachelor spoiler account known as Reality Steve leaked behind the scenes footage of them filming a scene from a date multiple different times. On top of that, a former contestant came forward saying the scenes were always set up before filming and said that the cast was always told what to do and say. It's like they were acting out their scenes, not on a reality show. Which for me is not surprising, but maybe for those diehard fans it will be. Kicking off today's list, number 10 is American Idol. The nation became hooked on the show when it first came out back in 2002, basically setting the tone for the future of singing competition shows. For years, people have thought and trusted the fact that it truly is a reality show and the process of winning is unstaged and real. But as time went on, shady things started to come to surface and it doesn't seem to be as authentic than when it first aired. It was revealed that the whole audition process that we see on the show is actually fake. Apparently, scouts are sent out to find the best singers before they even hold the auditions. So they select the singers they are going to let through before even seeing them, and then they add some horrible singers in there, obviously for good ratings. Because let's be honest, those are the most entertaining to watch. The entire process is actually staged around what will make the season the most entertaining. Up next, number 9 is Storage Wars. If you haven't seen the show, it follows people who bid on storage lockers that go up for auction without seeing everything inside of it. You get a quick glimpse at what's in it, but then they auction it off to people without actually knowing the value of the items inside. Once the highest bidder gets the locker, they investigate what's inside and you can sell the items within it if it holds value. Basically, the person who makes the most money from their locker wins. It seems genuine and it's really fun to watch, but then we found out that it's not all real. Apparently, the producers place items inside the lockers on purpose for the sake of the episode and outcome, which obviously changes the whole premise of the show because the items in the locker decide how the rest of the episode plays out. I honestly got played on this one. I was convinced it was real. Stealing the number 8 spot on our list is Undercover Boss. This one bums me out because I actually love the premise of the show, especially the happy endings, which apparently are all fake. In the show, the owner of the company will go undercover and work at their own company so they can discover what really goes on in the workplace. For the most part, they learn who is slacking, who is thriving, and what things can be improved in their business. And at the end of every episode, they give the good employees these huge opportunities like school scholarships, vacations for their families, a raise, things like that. But I found out that that is all fake. A lot of aspects of the show are fake and exaggerated. The employees on the show are carefully selected beforehand, and some scenes are even scripted, and the big grand prizes are often not followed through. Cool. I thought it was real this whole time. Genuinely. That's like a genuine statement. Cruising into number 7 is Cupcake Wars. If you're a sucker for baking shows like I am, then you might be disappointed by this. Each episode focuses on 4 contestants from different bakeries all across the United States. We see them go through 3 rounds of competition, baking the best cupcakes they can in order to win the prize of being featured at a big display event. The first round of the competition usually involves ingredients that you would never expect to see in a cupcake, like hamburger meat or something weird like that. And we're told that the contestants are finding all of this out on the spot so that they don't have any time to prepare ahead of time. Turns out that is not true. It was revealed that the contestants actually find out what the ingredients are prior to the filming of the competition. So all the reactions and stress that we find entertaining isn't actually real. They are pretty much acting all of it out. Good acting skills though. Next up at number 6 is Made. The reality series first aired back in 2002 and has a total of 13 seasons. Each episode follows a participant who is embarking on a mission to transform his or her life, achieving one of their lifelong dreams. For example, you often see amateur singers who are trying to make something happen, and by the end of the episode, they accomplish their dreams. Now, I feel like this one should be a little more obvious that it can't be completely real. It was exposed that a lot of the talents are already there, but then they downplay them in the beginning to make the change seem like really drastic, and everything is scripted ahead of time. That way the episode shows this like perfect dream come true storyline, basically giving us false hope that dreams can easily come true. So thanks for that. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Mystery Diners. The series has been aired on the Food Network since 2012 and is a huge hit for food lovers. The premise of the show is the owner of the restaurant contacts the host, Charles Styles, about a problem that he or her is having in their restaurant. Then Charles does a secret investigation and sets up hidden cameras, undercover employees and guests, all to figure out the solution of the problem. Anyways, I just want to say that it was really cool. Some people who watch the show will say that it is scripted and that it's obvious, but other people are fully convinced that every situation is real and genuine. However, the truth has come out and the show is completely scripted. Turns out that some of the restaurant employees are actually actors who audition for the part of the misbehaving employee. That way, when they get fired at the end of the episode, it doesn't actually leave like this aftermath effect on the restaurant, which is actually kind of clever and a little bit genius. but I really fell for it. Taking over our number 4 spot is one of my guilty pleasures. It is Dance Moms. Maybe some of you haven't seen it. It's basically a show about young girls who train at Abby Lee's dance studio and compete in weekly dance competitions all over the world. But what makes it so entertaining, besides the talented dancing, is the crazy dance moms. I guess a large chunk of the show is actually real, the dance training is real, and so are the competitions that we see on the show. That part is all real. But the drama and the epic blowouts between the moms is fake, and there's no arguing with me on it because some of the cast members have come forward and admitted it themselves. Maddie Ziegler's mom, Melissa, once said, "The moms have to fake fight sometimes. Afterward, they just start talking and laughing about it." Sitting in the 3rd spot is MTV's The Real World. I have no problem admitting that I have seen all 30 seasons now. The first one came out back in 1992, and I spent my adult years catching up. It's the incredibly successful show that sticks 7 strangers in a house and then just films them every day. Obviously, with different personalities and relationships forming between cast members, there's bound to be some drama. And there is. But apparently it is fake. One member from the 2009 Cancun season came out and exposed the whole show process during an interview. He said that the people were real but had to audition to play a certain role, and that all the events on the show were scripted ahead of time, including some of the fights. And the editing of the show was also toyed with. They would use lines from an early interview and place it later into the season to try and stir the pot as if you had just said it. Reality is sneaky. And spot number 2 is the series Breaking Amish. It follows a unique storyline of real young men and women who are trying to break free from their Amish culture in hopes to have a different life somewhere else. They actually go to New York City and do everything that they're not normally supposed to, like wearing jeans, using electricity, drinking alcohol, things like that. And normally in the episode we see that their family disowns them if they choose to leave and live a regular life. Religion is such a trigger point in our world right now, so I was actually surprised to learn that the show wasn't genuine. Through interviews with former cast members, it was revealed that the show was scripted and their struggles in the big city weren't actually real. And some of the members on the show had left the Amish community years before they even started filming. They're just a bunch of liars. Finally, at number 1, we have The Amazing Race. Come on, here I was thinking this was totally real. Pretty sure I once tried to convince one of my ex-boyfriends to sign up with me. That is not a joke. The show follows 2 people, usually relatives, spouses, or friends, around the world as they compete challenges along the way, like flight delays, jet lag, basically everything that just comes with traveling. And each week they have the potential of being up for elimination. But critics have pointed out that things look scripted and the elimination weeks are all planned. Because sometimes the host of the show, Phil, announces that it will be a non-elimination week. He admits that the show is planned out long in advance, not like the reality we thought it was. He said, "You can't just make this stuff up as you're going along. It comes with months and months of planning." Well, I'll be damned. And good thing I didn't get my ex and I on that show.